Listen-only mode.
Hi, dignitaries. So I welcome all of you to this important HSL webinar on imparting information and solution on freedom from diabetes and hypertension hospital bills, a comprehensive health plan covering this important aspect. So as you are aware, in India today, most common lifestyle diseases are diabetes and hypertension, especially prevalent in urban cities. So this diseases has long-term adverse health implications and impact different parts of the body. And this is one of the most common and major cause of patient getting hospitalized. So to discuss and have solution on how to ensure minimum to nil hospital expenses with this regard, I want to introduce our esteemed speaker, Dr. Bhabatosh Mishra. So before I hand over, I just wanted to introduce to this Bhabatosh Mishra heads the claims, underwriting, and product division at Bupa Health Insurance Company Limited. Dr. Bhabatosh is an insurance industry veteran with almost 2 decades of professional experience across life, general, and health insurance industries. Over the years, he has handled a variety of portfolios, including underwriting, products, claims, provider network management, operations, customer service, innovation, and fraud management. In his previous role, he was the Chief Operating Officer at Apollo Munich Health Insurance Company Limited. A medical graduate by education, Dr. Bhabatosh has been actively involved with various industry bodies like FICCI, CII, and IRDAI on many industry initiatives. He has also authored the chapters on underwriting, product development, and basic actuarial science for the diploma course on health insurance delivered by Insurance Institute of India. Several insurance products developed by him have won accolades in the Asia Pacific region. So I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Bhabatosh Mishra to you. So over to you, Dr. Bhabatosh Mishra.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ritesh. Am I clearly audible to you, Ritesh? I would assume everybody can hear me.
Yeah, very, very clear, Dr. Bhabatosh.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, diabetes and hypertension as a topic is a very boring subject to start with. Hardly any of you wouldn't have heard about diabetes, hypertension, wouldn't have heard about what it causes, would always know reasonably good amount of information is available with you as far as diabetes and hypertension is concerned. My idea today over the next maybe 30 odd minutes before we possibly delve into some question and answer sessions if time permits is to give you a very different perspective and give you some incremental information and simplify diabetes hypertension. See, it is the most spoken topic in India and globally as well, whereas this is also the topic where maximum myths are associated with it. Let me start with this. I know I can't see you. I know it's very difficult for me to get a response from you right away. But if you may chart, use the chat function and possibly just write yes, no. How many of you feel that eating lot of sweets causes diabetes? You can use your chat function to just write yes or no. Now, as I see, a lot of people possibly feel that eating a lot of sugar or sweets causes diabetes. It's a common myth that we have. Once somebody gets diabetes, they cannot eat too much of a sugar is true, but simply taking sugar causes diabetes is not true. Let me give you a perspective on what causes diabetes. And I will give you an analogy. Let's say you have a factory which is producing some goods, and then you have tie up with a transport agency to take these goods from the factory and go down to the distributor, right? And trucks come in, carry the goods, take it to the distributor. Trucks come in, carry the goods, take it to the distributor. Every day, the factory needs, let's say, 20 trucks by the amount of production that is happening, right? Let's say someday truck strike happens and only 5 trucks are available. What happens to the goods? Those goods will accumulate in the factory, go down. It cannot be cleared. Or either this could happen that if there is a strike, there is no truck available at all, or there is little less truck available because of whatever reasons. Let's say some people go on leave and the transport agency is not supporting well, right? So less number of trucks are being provided. Either way, goods will start accumulating. The same thing happens in diabetes. The sugar that body has, that we get primarily from eating food, and every food item by and large has sugar, right? That sugar is carried from the bloodstream. Whatever we eat, that gets processed in our intestinal tract, and that sugar and the protein, nutrients, etc. get into our bloodstream and then to organs. This sugar that gets into the blood is the goods produced equivalent. And what helps in metabolizing this sugar, or the equivalent of a truck which carries it from the factory to the retailer, the equivalent of the truck is something called as insulin, which is a hormone. If the factory produces more goods, you need more trucks. Or if the factory is producing as much as it has always been producing, but less number of trucks are available, then also it accumulates. Same thing with sugar. So the amount of sugar that gets into bloodstream needs insulin to be metabolized, carried to the cells, and then metabolized. Two scenarios can cause diabetes. One, the body is producing lesser insulin than that is required. The other, the body being available is not producing any insulin at all. So either or there is no truck available at all to carry goods. In both scenarios, what would happen? The go down will overflow with goods produced. Same thing will happen. If less insulin is available, the sugar in the blood will remain there. The blood sugar levels go up. Or body is not producing any insulin at all, then also sugar will accumulate in the blood. That is what, loosely speaking, is diabetes. This insulin is produced by a particular type of cells in a small organ called pancreas in human body. The small cells are called islet cells. Broadly, you will hear that insulin production and diabetes is of two types. People will say type 1, type 2. What basically type 1 means is that body is not producing any insulin at all. And type 2 means body is producing insulin, but lesser quantity than what we, the human body, would need, that person will need. In both conditions, sugar in the blood will go up. Now that is diabetes, right? In diabetes, thus, if the sugar is already high in the blood, that is why we have to control the intake of sugar, because we are not having enough insulin in our body to metabolize what is already there in the blood. That means we have to be very careful of feeding more and more sugar into the blood, right? Coming to hypertension, it's a very interesting thing again. Hypertension is not tension. Tension in physics means what? It means resistance or pressure. The blood that flows in our vessels, which is arteries and veins, mostly arteries, when they are rushing through the vessels, the wall of the vessel offers a resistance, and that is called the tension, trying to restricting the flow. When that resistance goes up, that's called higher pressure. Now, imagine the artery was of a certain caliber, but inside the artery, if fats have deposited or the artery wall has become thick and rigid, then it will offer more resistance. It is simple. we have these plumbing pipes at home. Let's say you open the tap, water flows. But after some time, let's say the inside of the pipe has gotten rusted and has become narrow. The flow will decrease, or some other abnormality in the piping has happened, then the flow will be disturbed. So whenever this happens, the arteries become rigid or narrow, that causes more pressure. It's like, have you ever watered the plants in a garden? You stand with the pipe, squeeze the pipe and make it a little narrow, that water stream goes faster, becomes narrow, goes faster and farther. That's what happens in blood vessels also. Blood vessel becomes rigid or narrow, the flow of water becomes faster, and that is what the pressure going up. That's hypertension. Why do we call it lifestyle diseases? Lifestyle diseases does not mean that everybody will get this disease. That is not true. Somewhere there is a myth that everybody who lives longer will get this disease. That is not true. It is not a life disease. It is a lifestyle disease. And lifestyle is a conscious choice, right? That brings me to two very important aspects. One about diabetes, one about hypertension. And both have some common elements. A major component of lifestyle is our diet. Some of the diets increase the rigidity of the vessels. Some of the diets deposit fats inside the vessels, making it narrow. And narrow vessel means faster blood flow, right? Which means hypertension. Some of the diets put a lot of pressure on pancreas. These diets, mostly fatty, spicy diets, not so much spicy, but fatty of course, and extremely high sugar content diets, put a lot of pressure on the body and organs. And with the kind of eating we have, where our balanced diet has to be balanced, nutrition is balanced nutrition. Having one type of food, having very fatty food, having junk food, makes the overall diet imbalanced. Diet has to have two very important aspects. One is called the quality of the diet, which is a well balanced nutrition. It should be rich in vitamins that we need. It should have enough carbohydrates, enough proteins, enough fats, enough minerals also. The quality of diet is important. Equally important is the frequency of diet. There should be some discipline of eating X number of times, not remaining empty stomach for a very long duration. How many times are we eating? Or some people tend to snack, which is eating very frequently. Whenever this balance gets disturbed, it causes changes in the body, because body has to metabolize this. And these are some of the reasons which affect our human body, causing diabetes and hypertension later on. Both the diseases have very similar complications. Diabetes, a joke in medical colleges about diabetes is, diabetes can cause everything except for pregnancy. What it basically means is, diabetes is one disease that affects every organ in the body, and so does hypertension to quite some extent. So diabetes affects eyes, it affects skin, heart, nervous system, that is brain and other parts of the nervous system. It affects pretty much every organ system in the human body, causing complications. Some of those common ones are losing eyesight because of retinopathy in diabetes. Kidney failure is one of the leading causes of kidney failure. The leading cause of kidney failure in our country, in many parts of the world, is actually diabetes. On the other hand, hypertension also causes similar complications. It affects the heart, it affects the eyes, certainly affects the kidneys and so on. These diseases, being lifestyle diseases, is a conscious choice, as I said. That means if somebody took care of their lifestyle actively, there is a chance that these diseases may not ever come to them, or may come much later in life. Both these diseases, and particularly diabetes, has genetic linkages also. It runs in the family. So somebody with both parents and family history of diabetes is likely to get it more. To some extent, not entirely, hypertension could have genetic linkages as well. Now, knowing that these conditions cause a lot of complications, it's very important from a healthcare point of view to manage one's own health. Always. But at the same time, knowing well that this could lead to major complications and thus requirement of sophisticated treatment later on. It's very important to remain insured. And every insurance may not be comprehensive enough for a diabetic or a hypertensive, because the diseases have specific complications, specific needs. It's very important to look for a product that is customized for their needs. For example, people with diabetes, vast majority will continue to take medicines every day throughout their life. Some of them may require insulin. Both diabetics and hypertensives will need to go through regular checkups, follow up, checking their blood sugar, checking their blood pressure. These are expenses which are usually of outpatient nature. Many products don't cover these expenses because in India, typically health insurance is designed for hospitalization. But these are fairly sizable expenses as well. A particularly important aspect of this also is people who suffer from diabetes or hypertension, particularly diabetes, they tend to get infections also far too often. Injuries here and there, more number of infections, so their immunity tends to be lower. And they would need to visit the doctor more often, even if they get hospitalized. Even if every time they visit a doctor, they may not need a hospitalization. A person with diabetes may suddenly experience that the sugar has fallen too much, or may someday discover the sugar has skyrocketed too much someday. And these are concerns they have, which is very unique to them. A normal healthy individual without diabetes and hypertension may not experience this problem. These are real problems diabetics and hypertensives face in their life. Same BP shooting up, BP falling suddenly. These are some challenges. At Niva Bupa, we have a product, or a rider rather, called Smart Health Plus. This is custom made, designed for people living with diabetes and hypertension. There are 3 variants. The first basic variant, and it is important for me to inform you that for the basic variant, which gives unlimited teleconsultations, we chose one partner which is the most respected and trusted in India in healthcare, which is Apollo Group of Hospitals. Through their company, Apollo 24/7. What does it enable? We have a toll-free number equivalent of a 911 emergency response, on which a customer on the base variant can call anytime throughout the year, as many times as needed, and talk to an Apollo doctor. And who are these Apollo doctors? They can be general physicians, they can be specialists, medicine specialists, etc. They can also be super specialists, diabetologists, cardiac surgeon, cardiologists, neurologists, etc. So that whenever something happens, be it a small infection, be it sudden fall in sugar, be it sudden increase in BP, be it chest pain sometimes, they have somebody which is very high quality doctor available to them within minutes to talk to and take care of themselves. That's on the base variant. The next variant, the enhanced variant, also pays for, along with unlimited consultations with Apollo doctors, pays for diagnostic tests and also pharmacy. The limits vary. It can start as low as 5,000 for diagnostic and 5,000 for pharmacy. It can go all the way up to 25,000 for pharmacy and 25,000 for diagnostics. How is this and why is this important? As I mentioned a few minutes before, people need to take care of their health by monitoring as well. A regular BPA, regular sugar, HbA1c, lipid, kidney profile, etc. is something that regularly diabetics and hypertensive have to do, maybe once every quarter. And by paying for this diagnostic, those costs are covered under the product. On the other side, as I said, these people, diabetics and hypertensive, have to take medicine almost every day of their life. So the pharmacy supports them by paying for all these expenses as well. And the most comprehensive variant of this product, while they have both these components, which is pharmacy, diagnostics, unlimited consultations with GP, specialist and super specialist of Apollo hospitals, and these Apollo hospital doctors are across Apollo hospitals in India, all the top hospitals of Apollo. It also has component, and this is an interesting one. This has component where waiting period for diabetes and hypertension for somebody who already has this disease, that tend to be pre-existing waiting period is almost up to 4 years in most of the products, right? That 3 to 4 years is waived for diabetes and hypertension. So it is covered from day one, not just for diabetes and hypertension, but also for their complication. So somebody takes a policy today on the comprehensive variant, same day, some problem happens, they can talk to the Apollo doctor, take advice. They can buy medicines recommended, do the tests that are prescribed. And also all these will be paid for because there is no waiting period. Within the first year, few months, whenever a complication of diabetes happens, it will be paid for. No waiting period will apply for that. Otherwise, they would have to wait for 3 or 4 years for these things to be paid for. And waiting for 3-4 years that nothing will happen is very, very risky proposition for a diabetic or a hypertensive, right? Already somebody is living with this disease. There is a possibility that some complication could happen. You can never predict when exactly it happens, right? On top of it, this comprehensive variant also pays for regular follow-up checkups on a quarterly basis. In at least one of the variants, HbA1c, lipid profile, all these are paid for by the product itself, so the consumers take care of their health. And if they did it well, they can get a sizable up to 30% discount, up to 20% discount on their renewal premium. Not just of the rider alone, but the renewal premium of the base product plus the rider. So in some individuals who really want to take care of their diabetes and hypertensive status better, they can pretty much access the whole discount, which means the rider could potentially become free for them. Where the premium on which the discount applies is the base premium. Let's say somebody has a 20,000 rupees base premium and has, let's say, another 5,000 rupees of a rider premium and becomes eligible for a let's say 20% discount. The discount is on this 20,000 plus 25,000, which is pretty much like paying for the entire product, the rider's price itself, right? So it could potentially become free. So this way is very customized to the very daily needs and occasional needs of diabetics and hypertensives. So that's the product. Of course, product gives the financial freedom. It also nudges customers to take care of their health, encourages them to regularly do follow-up, encourages them and enables and in a convenient manner helps them talk to the relevant doctor immediately on a call and take care of their health. Prevent any condition becoming more severe by timely intervention. In this product, as I mentioned, the pharmacy and diagnostic part doesn't have to be from Apollo. It can be from anywhere. The only component that is tied up with Apollo is the consultation part, or the teleconsultation part, which is again unlimited, and not just GPs but specialists and super specialists as well. Any base product of Niva Bupa customer buys, let's say Reassure 2.2 or Reassure, this rider, when it is taken with that by a diabetic and a hypertension, this makes it thoroughly comprehensive. And one last very interesting point. Usually customers have to pay an additional premium by virtue of a loading when they have diabetes or hypertension. Let's say about 20% extra premium on a base product like 2.2. But the customers who take this rider, that loading is waived. What it means is that this rider comes at a very minimal incremental cost. Otherwise, the base product itself would have come with a 20% extra premium loading, right? That gets waived the moment the disease management component with the comprehensive part of the rider is attached, making it financially also more attractive. So in the comprehensive disease management rider of the Smart Health Plus, loading is waived, leading to saving. Day one coverage for diabetes, hypertension and their complications happen. No pre-existing waiting period is applied. It pays for pharmacy and diagnostics as well, anything between 5,000 rupees to 25,000 for each of those separately. It allows regular quarterly monitoring that the product pays for, and thereby a solution that is actually customized to every need of a diabetic or a hypertensive. Of course, the base product will pay for not just diabetes and hypertension related excuse me, complications or hospitalization, but also for all other conditions as a standard comprehensive product pays for those, subject to, of course, the terms conditions of the policy, right? So it makes a whole lot of sense whenever somebody is a diabetic or a hypertensive to avail Smart Health Plus, and more specifically the disease management rider of Smart Health Plus, which is the most comprehensive one, right? They can be combined and taken together. I would end it here at 5:30 and would request if there are any questions.
So, team, can you open up for the audience if they have a questions
Yes,
for
sir. We
Dr.
are
Bhabatosh?
open up for the questions. So if
Okay.
any customer have any questions, they can ask in the chat box as well as question box. Sir, here Mr. Pradeep is asking, can diabetes or hypertension ever be revised? Hello.
Sorry, voice is quite unclear.
Yes, sir. So what I was saying, can diabetes or hypertension ever be, hello, reversed?
Yes. Well, I know that there are a lot of claims about reversing, while a comprehensive research and data is still not available on reversing completely diabetes or hypertension. But there are a lot of examples, anecdotes about some people with lifestyle changes having been able to reverse diabetes completely. What I know of, having seen some of those people, having known them for a while, is that lifestyle changes take it as equivalent to medicines. In some cases, early diabetes or diabetes where complications have not still started, with significant lifestyle changes, maybe it is possible to reverse it. These lifestyle changes are about significant diet changes and exercise, right? But it is very important to understand, and this is the most important part. Like, one has to continue with the medicine lifelong so that diabetes is managed. Any reversal with lifestyle changes to be continuous also. It is not possible that somebody reverses, gets a control upon diabetes by lifestyle changes like exercise and diet, and then after a while you start eating normal food and give up exercise, the diabetes will come back. Like if you stop medicine, sugar will go high. So take it like, so in that sense it's not complete reversal. For example, you let's take an example, somebody has dengue, you give medicine, you treat them, they become normal, go back home, correct? Next time some mosquito bites again, etc., infection could happen, but the dengue or a typhoid is completely cured and they go back home. It does not continue. Even when the medicine ends, typhoid is not coming back. It may come back some years later, not because of the previous time the person had. But in lifestyle changes and medication, diabetes, it will come back if you let go of medicine, if you let go of the significant life changes. So it is, in technical sense, it is not reversible. I would call it reversible when even after stopping the lifestyle changes, the disease doesn't come back. It will come back if you stop those changes. So all these diets about, green smoothies, more protein, cut down on sugar, carbohydrate, these have to be followed lifelong. The moment those lifestyle changes stop, disease will come back. So technically, it is not reversible. It can be controlled. The control can be done through medicines, through insulin, through lifestyle changes, or a combination of all of this.
Dr. Bhabatosh, there is this particular question which has come in the YouTube live chat. There are two questions. First is, what is the maximum age to buy this reassured plan? That is the first question. And the second question is, can the product be renewed for lifetime? These are the two questions which has come.
The maximum age at entry into 2.0 reassure 2.0 is 65. And of course, once it is purchased, it can be renewed throughout life. That's a mandate in India. That's a regulation in India that health insurance policies are lifelong. So lifelong renewability.
Thank you, Dr. Bhabatosh. Is there any more questions? If team can check and let us know. Any more questions, team? I think there are no more questions, so I will take this opportunity, Dr. Bhabatosh, to thank you for taking time out and giving this valuable inputs on this very important topic of diabetes and hypertension, and also giving solutions to minimize the hospital bills. So thank you so much, Dr. Bhabatosh, for taking time out for HDFC Securities clients and doing this particular activity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bye.